Welcome to Stanford University, the nexus of grit, design thinking, and the growth mindset. We're on site talking with the team at Beam Stanford Career Education about the long play of transformation. And here's what we know. Nothing transformative happens quickly. We've seen a massive interest from upper administrators, from career centers all over the globe in pursuing not just micro changes, but holistic transformation. But what is the skill set? What is the mindset? What is the perseverance behind the long play of transformation?
Beam is everywhere.
Beam is empowering.
Beam is versatile.
Beam is about building bridges and ecosystems across campus.
Beam is a team of really enthusiastic people, career educators, who are passionate about serving students.
To have a vision for the future that you build from the ground up by listening to your stakeholders and to your campus community.
So what did you do first?
When I started here in 2013, I saw this opportunity to shift a paradigm for career services here at Stanford, and potentially that it could create a ripple effect. But I didn't have a vision for what that would look like. And what I knew at that time is that the vision was going to come from an intentional process of listening, of gathering lots of data and information from the stakeholders who would be impacted.
Mhm.
So my first 3 months, the only thing that I did was a listening tour. That first year was an interesting one. We didn't know what direction we were going to take, if you remember. And I just threw the word out, community. I was like, we're going to try to build community and change our model from whatever we're doing to community. And I remember people were like, what are you talking about? No, and people were hanging on to things. And did you recall that? And we went through that and we persevered, and look at where we are 4 or 5 years later. And
So getting a team to get behind a brand is all about allowing them to be a part of the process, to feel like they built it. And they did here. There's no way I could build a brand without the entire team being a part of that process. It was all about hearing what they wanted to see, how they wanted to make a difference, along with the vision we had already set out. Those two things had to come together. It was about educating the team on what was going on and where we wanted to go and how we were going to get there. So I'd say there was a lot of relationship building, there was a lot of education, there's a lot of brainstorming, a lot of conversations. And I think that's how the team really got behind fully thinking about Beam as a new name, as a new brand, as a new organizational strategy.
I refused to dive into the operational management of this organization, even though the job required it at the time. I asked others in the organization to take on that task so that I can spend the time to meet with the staff, the faculty, the students, the alumni, the employers, the members of our community on and off campus, colleagues around the country, to try to get a sense of what the trends were.
What do you eat, live, breathe every day in this office?
For me, I think what we eat, live, breathe every day is related to our values, being daring, being agile, being friendly. We've tried things that have worked really well, and we keep doing them, and we've tried things that haven't worked as well, and we learn, how can we do that better? Does it need to be changed? Can we share that with another partner, with another stakeholder? So those have been, I think, very meaningful for us to think about innovating in a way that's sustainable, but also enjoyable for us.
And communities, catalysts, ventures,
Mm-hmm.
your team names, fresh words, inspiring words.
Yeah.
But talk about the beauty and the challenges with fresh words.
The biggest benefit for it also is to help our stakeholders pay attention to the paradigm shift as well. That the fresh words help with that, because you could do something different, but if it's still called the same old name, most likely, or most of your stakeholders are not going to pay attention to it, or they're not going to recognize the shift that you've done.
Yep.
So I think, from a brand management perspective, I think that that was a very important thing for us to do, is not only to rename our organization, but also rename our teams.
Yeah.
In addition, I would think that it had a tremendous impact on changing the culture internally. That
Yeah.
it was really important for the staff members to see themselves as part of names that had fresh words, because it communicated that that their approach and their work needed to continue to be innovative.
Forming, storming, norming, performing. Is it okay to storm?
Is it?
Let's have somebody talk about storming. And why is it okay to storm?
It's totally okay to storm. I think that our team has had ups and downs, challenges, and it's part of the process of change. It comes with the territory. So a number of us this past year went through a Brene Brown curriculum on resiliency and empathy, vulnerability, and we worked through some really tough topics that helped us have some language around storming, basically, and it's made us a really resilient team.
Is there a common value that's helped you all get through storming?
So I think the common value that probably helped us all get through storming is thinking in the back of the minds, I have to be agile.
There were the challenges with the humanities and sciences. There were the challenges with let's reinvent career fairs. There were the challenges of how we're going to scale our engagement with students. Data. Let's hire staff, but once you hire them, what do you do with them? Like, they're here now. So how do we onboard them, right? And how do we train them? How do we get them what they need? And then how do we get them to get along with one another? And then it was, how do we all communicate with one another, and how do we not act in silos? I mean, we went through all of that journey, and in the middle of all of that is, how do we stop being a career center and become a really relevant organization to the education of students? I absolutely believe that the only way we could help our students succeed in charting the path towards meaningful work is by involving everyone. And if at the end of the day, a student walks out of campus, graduates out of campus, and gets a great opportunity and is successful, and never knows that my office was behind it, I'm okay with that.
So when I got here, I learned of this amazing program that Beam had been doing called Frosh Open House. And it was an open house for first-year students to come and learn about Beam, meet the people that work here, and experience career education. Over a few months, I learned about the strategy and logistics behind the event and the great success. And I thought there's a lot more we could do to match with what we were trying to transform as far as career education. So one thing that we did first was partner with academic advising department here at Stanford, and it was a great partnership because we could do more. That enabled us to make it an experiential event. Rather than students coming in and just learning about what we do, they could come and do what we do. So students, could come together, they could meet alumni, they could write letters to their future selves that the Alumni Association would mail to them as seniors. We had resume relay games, we had prizes and t-shirts and lots of food. It was important for us to engage all of their senses. And what's been interesting in the last 4 or 5 years is that we just kept at it. It wasn't just one change or 2 changes and we stopped. It's in fact, there was a time, if you all recall, where people were asking, when are things going to just stabilize and slow down? And my response back is, that's not going to be this organization, if you recall, because we're always going to be
paving pathways to in the future. So it's not gonna be stabilized for a long time. We're constantly going to try new things.
So I remember when I had only been here maybe 6 months, and we just changed our name, and we had a brand launch party. It was all 3 floors in our building, hundreds of people, music, food, just a big blowout event, and it was amazing. And the feedback that we got from people was incredible. The energy in the building was, just inspiring, and I think that momentum kept us going, and it helped us to see like people are really receptive to this, and this is going somewhere.
One of the things I hear all the time is that staff are a bit overwhelmed by volume.
Mm-hmm.
How have you approached this idea of there's a voluminous amount of work that we have to do in career services?
Mm-hmm. I think it's a mindset. The reason why it feels that doing more is overwhelming is because we think of our work most of the time through an individual perspective, an individual interaction perspective, because that's what we have known as models in the past, because it's highly rewarding when you meet with someone one-on-one and you're able to help them and give them plenty of attention. As a profession, I think what I'm looking forward to seeing us do better in the future is this idea of scaling our work without having to increase our resources and without having to increase our effort. That we can add smaller touches, use technology, use this idea of community-based learning. That what you're able to deliver to a group of 5 students or to even to 1 student, you can deliver to a group of 1,000 students within 1 hour.
With that white space that we're given here to try new things, last fall we tried this event. We called it a beam takeover. And essentially we figured we got this whole 3-story building here, and employers are always asking, like, how can I stand out? And so we said, you know what, the evening of our computer science career fair here at Stanford, what if we just gave the whole building to a company, and instead of them doing an info session? And so Facebook came, and they were here for 2 hours. They had Oculus demos in this room. They had an Instagram photo booth. In one room, they had almost a career fair of their own just for Facebook, data science team, hardware team. But they filled the whole building, and I think students saw something that they've never really seen before.
My colleague Danielle Wood and I, we've created a class called 10 Jobs in 10 Weeks, and it's for non-technical students who might be studying the humanities or the sciences, and every week we bring in alumni from Stanford who have humanities degrees from different industries, and they talk about their work, they talk about their background, and then they do an experiential activity with the students. So, for example, we had an agent from Hollywood and a CEO of an entertainment company come in, and they did an activity where students, half of them were agents and half of them were screenwriters, and they had to find the best fit for their project.
One way that I see that we've changed the lives of students is actually the graduate student population here at Stanford, the PhDs and postdocs. We have PhDs and postdocs who will tell us, we didn't get these kind of services at our undergraduate institution. And now, wow, you have a lot to offer. So I think seeing that, and one event that I see that happening is called PhD Pathways.
The PhD Pathway Conference, and that was like one-day conference for PhD students and postdocs, where Beam invited a lot of panel speakers who pursued a career outside of academia.
The Jumpstart Your Academic Job Search Bootcamp is a 1-week-long, 40-hour, 14-module opportunity for PhDs and postdocs who are about to enter the academic job search to work on all of their materials in preparation. And we have 60 to 70 participants every year.
And there's a why behind your change.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right? I don't think we do anything without having purpose behind it.
Yeah.
Because really, I think all of us look beyond ourselves. We wouldn't be here otherwise if we didn't think beyond ourselves. That's why we do the work that we do.
So change is worth it, because what got you here isn't going to get you there.
Change leads to progress, but it really leads to innovation. It leads to risk taking. It leads to new opportunities for students.
Change is worth it because our students are changing.
Change is worth it because in the end, we really make a difference in the lives of the students that we work with.